What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the ZayMoolaSportsPodcast. I'm your old star Zay, and the Duke Lady Blue Devils are absolutely rolling right now as they've won 16 games in a row and are the hottest team in women's college basketball. And their turnaround has been incredible because they came into the season with tremendous expectations after they went to the Elite Eight last season. And a lot of people, including myself, thought that they were going to build off that and become championship contenders this season. They were my preseason pick to go to the Final Four because I thought they were going to be better this season than they were last season. I also expected them to solidify themselves as being one of the elite teams in women's college basketball. But unfortunately, y'all, they didn't start the season off too well as they went 3-6 in their first 9 games, as they went through a brutal non-conference schedule, going up against South Carolina, LSU, UCLA, Baylor, and West Virginia. And they had by far the toughest non-conference schedule that any team had this year because South Carolina, LSU, and UCLA are all ranked inside the top 10. And Baylor and West Virginia are also ranked, y'all. So there's not too many teams in the country that, if they play 5 ranked teams in their first 9 games, would have a ton of success because that's really difficult, y'all. I mean, most of the time, in your non-conference play, you're going to be going against inferior teams, right? To help really build your confidence, to get some early wins in the season. But that's not what Carol Lawson wanted for her team, y'all, because she knew that they wanted to go from being a good team to become an elite team, to become championship contenders, that they need to go up against elite competition early on in the season, y'all. This was a great way to prepare them for March Madness because, as we all know, in March Madness, every single round, you're going up against a really good or great team, y'all. Even in the round of 64, right? Say if you're a 4 seed, you're going against a 13 seed. Just because that team is ranked 13th does not mean they don't have talent on their team. So every round in March Madness, y'all, is incredibly difficult because you're going up against some really good or great talent every single game, every single round, and she wanted to make sure that her team was prepared for that. And I really commend her for doing it, y'all, because there's not a lot of coaches in women's college basketball that are willing to do that. A lot of these teams, you look at them, their non-conference schedule, they didn't play against great competition, but that was not the case for Duke, y'all. They went against elite competition, and although they struggled early on in the season, it was only going to make them better later on in the season, y'all, because they had that, test. They had that experience going up against some really great teams. So that way, when March Madness came around, they were going to be prepared for it. They were going to be ready to go up against great teams because they would have done it early on in the season in their non-conference schedule. And although they really struggled, y'all, I always felt like they could bounce back because Carol Lawson has built a strong culture and a strong identity for that program, right? They're tough, they're physical, they play for one another, they compete every single night. And when you have that type of culture and identity for your program, y'all, you're always going to be able to bounce back because you can always lean on that. Even when, you might have some struggles early on in the season, you might have some struggles in the middle of the season, as long as you have a strong culture and a strong identity that you can fall back on, y'all, you're going to be able to bounce back in a tremendous way. And that's exactly what they've done is, again, y'all, they have won 16 games in a row. They're the hottest team in women's college basketball, and they're playing like one of the best teams in women's college basketball. And I want to start with their backcourt because I think they have one of the best backcourts in women's college basketball, as they are led by 2 senior guards, Ashlyn Jackson and Taina Mayer. And I want to start with Taina Mayer because I think she's one of the best two-way point guards in the country. She's a really good playmaker. She's a solid shooter. She's a tremendous rebounder for her size. But I love what she does defensively, y'all. I mean, I think she's one of the most tenacious on-ball defenders in the country. She really challenges players, gets under their skin. She has quick hands. She averages a little over 2.5 steals per game. And she's a dog, y'all. I mean, she just competes every single night. She brings that toughness every single night. And I think she's the heart and soul for this Duke team. And then you look at their other senior guard, y'all, Ashlyn Jackson, who I believe is one of the best three-point shooters in the country. She's an absolute sniper, but she's also a really good defender. So I love this backcourt they have, y'all. They are led by 2 senior guards that have a ton of experience, that are really good shooters, that play defense, and they just play well with one another, y'all. So you have to love that. And then you look at Toby Fournier, who has been absolutely incredible. I think she's been one of the most improved players in women's college basketball. And here's the thing, y'all. She was great last year as a freshman, right? Averaged about 13 points and 5 rebounds per game. But she's been even better this year as a sophomore. And she averaged about 17 points and 8 rebounds per game and 2 blocks per game. So again, although she was great last year as a freshman, y'all, she is taking her game to the next level in her sophomore year. And I think she's she's an all-around great power forward. I mean, I think she does everything on the floor at a high level. She has a good post-up game. You know, she can hit shots from the perimeter. She's a good passer. She's a versatile defender. She's a great rebounder. She's a great shot blocker. And I just love everything about her game, y'all. And then you look at Riley Nelson, who I think is a really good three-point shooter as well. She's a solid, passer for them. And she's a good rebounder, y'all. And then I really love their young freshman center and Ariana Robertson. I think she's one of the most underrated centers in women's college basketball. She's had a tremendous impact for them, averaging about 9 points and 6 rebounds per game. And she's a really good shooter, a versatile defender. So you have her and Toby Fournier out there, y'all, in that front court. Man, it's very difficult for opponents to score on them. And then, in the backcourt, having Ashlyn Jackson and Tyna Mayer. So you got to love what they bring from a defensive standpoint. You love their depth, y'all, as well. They have 6 players that are averaging at least 9 points for them. So they have great depth. They have great defense. They have great athleticism, great shooting. So I love everything about them from a roster standpoint. But y'all, we have to also give a lot of credit to their head coach, Carol Lawson, who is one of the best coaches in women's college basketball. Because again, when they had those struggles, early on in the season, some coaches wouldn't have been able to overcome that. Because sometimes, y'all, especially when a team has tremendous expectations coming into the season, if they struggle early on in the season, some teams not gonna be able to handle y'all. Sometimes the players just might start to feel bad. They check out. They feel like, well, hey, the season's already over. We're not playing well. So it's just time, go ahead and pack our bags and just call this season, washed. But y'all, you have to give a lot of credit to Carol Lawson. We're keeping our players focused. We're keeping our players locked in and to keep them motivated. Because again, when you come into the season with the high expectations that they had and you start, the season off with the struggles that they had, sometimes it can be hard to stay motivated, y'all, because you don't think, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. But you have to give a big kudos, big round of applause to Carol Lawson to keep this team locked in, to keep them focused, y'all, and to keep them motivated that, hey, we just started the season off the way we wanted to, but we still have a tremendous opportunity to do some big things as the season goes on, y'all. And again, that is exactly what they did. And I think right now they can compete with every team in the country not named UConn. And that's saying a lot, y'all, because I think many of y'all probably know the way I feel about UCLA and Texas and Kentucky and Ole Miss and some of these teams. I'm really high on those teams. But y'all, the way Duke is playing right now, they can compete with every team in women's college basketball not named the UConn Huskies, because again, they have everything it takes to be contenders: the depth, the defense, the shooting, the athleticism, and having one of the best coaches in the country in Carol Lawson. So Lady Blue Devils, keep doing your thing, and I cannot wait to see you ball out in March Madness. So there you have it, man. This was me discussing the great turnaround that the Duke Lady Blue Devils have had with their season. Remember, y'all, last good message of what? Make sure you get your daily dose. I'm the end, man. I love y'all. God bless. Peace.